Without further ado, though, I want to bring in our amazing Thursday panel. My former colleague, independent journalist now extraordinaire, Lyndsay Keith. Welcome back to the show. My buddy over there at the Daily Signal, the leader in independent media at the forefront from my days at the White House, Mr. Rob Bluey. Welcome back. And the woman who will never give us a lib take. No, the leader of the non-lib take, Miss Arynne Wexler, is back. Good to see you guys. Let's just start with this. Lyndsay, I'll start with you. How big of a deal do you, I mean, like, when you heard about this deal, give us a sense of what you think the magnitude is this in terms of like previous presidents or history, how it will judge what the deal is between Israel and Hamas.
Yeah, it's great to be with you, Sean, and Arynne and Rob as well. This is massive. I don't think that we even right now can put a label on how historic this is. And I think the week that it happened, hitting the 2-year mark of this horrific war between Israel and Hamas. And I think really the big thing here is, Sean, the players that Trump was able to bring together and how he was able to work with Prime Minister Netanyahu. And anybody that knows politics and knows Netanyahu also understands kind of the bipolar relationship that he has had with so many different presidents. And I think that the prime minister came into this administration really thinking that he could wield some power over Trump, and it really has happened the opposite way here. But just the people that Trump has brought to the table and really approach this in an unorthodox way. And I think that's what it needed. It needed to bring not just politicians. There was a lot of criticism for Steve Witkoff coming in or even Jared Kushner, but I think that's what it needed. And you also think about some of the criticism that President Trump has taken over the years from cozying up to some of these Middle East leaders. But really, that's what it took for you have these Arab nations that needed to get on board and have a comprehensive approach here. And Trump brought all those players to the table. I mean, you're talking about Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Egypt, and obviously then he never wavered on his support for Israel as well, which I think is really hard to do here because you've seen almost every other nation in the world kind of shift course after October 7th happened, 2 years ago. You might remember it was like, I think a month or two where everybody was on Israel's side. And then after that, once we saw the devastation that was happening in Gaza, you really saw so many countries kind of divert and start to criticize Israel for how they handled the war. So for President Trump to be able to bring all these players together and really the strategy that it took for this moment to happen, I think is unprecedented. It can't even be matched. And what he did with the Abraham Accords in his first term was incredible. But this is just really next level because anybody who understands, last thing I'll say here, the complication of the chess pieces that have to move for anything to happen in the Middle East. We're not just talking, these are deep-rooted issues and really the hatred and the frustration that's gone on in that region for, centuries, for him to be able to meet this moment, it really is unbelievable.
Arynne, go ahead, Rob. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, picking up on Lyndsay's point about the Abraham Accords, I really don't think President Trump gets enough credit, not only for what he started in his first term, but the 7 peace deals that he talks about prior to this one. And he has been portrayed unfairly in the national news media as somebody who's, where there was fears that he would be a warmonger and put our troops in harm's way. And if anything, he's demonstrated that, at least in my lifetime, he is the president of peace. And he is somebody who is truly committed to bringing these sides together that have been fighting for years, if not centuries. And in this particular case, I agree with Lyndsay. This is going to be a hard deal for anybody to criticize because it is so monumental and historic.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying this conversation, but if you're looking for a way to get to sleep tonight and stay asleep, I've got the answer for you. For over a year, I've been taking Beam's Dream Powder. It has made a world of difference. I fall asleep faster, I stay asleep, and I wake up ready to go. If you want to join me by taking 1 scoop every night before you get to bed, go to shopbeam.com/Spicer. Use code word Spicer at checkout for up to 40% off. Trust me, everything stems from a great night's sleep. Go to shopbeam.com/Spicer, code word Spicer. All right, back to the conversation. And don't fall asleep yet. Arynne, Howard Lutnick was with some of the families of the hostages, and he played a video. I want to play it just for our audience and then get you to react on how big this is for them.
What do you guys have to say to President Trump? Thank you! You did it!
You did it! Thank you! Thank you!
This is amazing. Mr. President, we believe in you. We know you've done so much for us over the past, since you became a president, and even before that. And we trust you fulfill the mission until every hostage, every 48 of the hostages are home. Thank you so much. Blessed be the peacemakers.
God bless you, Mr. President. God bless America.
Thank you very much. You just take care of yourselves. The hostages will come back. They're all coming back on Monday.
All of them.
Arynne, I can't imagine having a family member or a friend taken hostage and then getting that phone call.
Yeah, Sean, I mean, it's a very emotional time. That clip is, I have goosebumps all over my body from watching it. But to quote the great philosopher Michael Scott, I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. I am a cautious woman. And until those hostages are actually released, I am not popping any champagne bottles. Regardless of what actually happens, Trump deserves all the credit here. He deserves the Nobel Prize. We all know that. But when it comes to the actual mechanics of what's about to happen, I'm still very cautious. We are still dealing with terrorists. God forbid, but I have the sinking feeling that a lot of the hostages are coming back in body bags, and we have to be realistic about what this really means. Either way, we are at the beginning of the end, hopefully, of this war. I am someone I'm in, honestly, more prayers for the hostages WhatsApp groups than there are hostages at this point. So this is something that is always at the front of my mind. So it's a bittersweet is not quite the right word, but it's a moment with tempered expectations of what's really going to happen for the families, while still feeling a lot of hope that soldiers are coming home, hostages are coming home, and that we will have calm for everyone in the region.
Yeah, go ahead, Lyndsay.
Can I say something else, Sean? I think something is really important to point out, and I'm reminded of Inauguration Day when President Trump had the hostages families on stage with him. And he really has talked about this, and it's been a crux, not to compare him too much to Netanyahu, that the hostage families have criticized Prime Minister Netanyahu because he always had these two goals, which was to bring the hostages home and defeat Hamas and eradicate them from Gaza. And it proved that he was having a really hard time doing both of those. President Trump has always put the hostages at the forefront, fighting. And you've really seen, I've talked to so many people in Israel who have said, we love President Trump more than anybody else, even more than Netanyahu. He is their hero, specifically because of this hostage deal, because he has put those families at the forefront. He had Edon Alexander and his family twice now in the Oval Office just this week on October 7th, and really making their stories the forefront of this, because this is so horrific in many ways. These people who gut-wrenching for 2 years now to have their families missing, and some of them, as Arynne said, coming home in body bags, which is just, you can't even imagine what they've gone through these past 2 years.
And if we could add one thing just to give Trump more credit, we've all forgotten, because he's done so much, that he sent the B-2s and to Iran. And I have friends in Israel, family members, sending me messages saying, under no other president, right? Thank God for President Trump. They were sitting in their basements and their bomb shelters with missiles coming from Iran. And Trump also took that out. So there's a lot more quiet and a lot more stability in the Middle East because of President Trump.
First of all, I love this discussion because you guys have brought up so many aspects of this, like the complication nature of this, the unorthodox nature. Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff are not career diplomats. Career diplomats could have not done this. And Lyndsay, to your point, like this is, I don't think you can overstate your point about the chess match, because you've got these Arab states, you've got Hamas, a terrorist organization, as Arynne points out, you've got Israel, and each of them you're literally holding it together with duct tape and saying one small move gets rid of the other one, right? And so he's kept them all together for the greater good. And I gotta say, like, to Arynne's point, I think this is what she was alluding to. Like, I can't imagine how much disgust there is if you're an Israeli citizen or a Jew and thinking we're making a deal with these people that created this unprovoked attack, took people hostage, killed women and children, and it takes a lot not to be outraged by the fact that they're happening. You have to truly get that there's a greater good and a long-term good in this. And that takes a lot. So to hold that in and agree to this really speaks to the volume of what's happening. But Arynne alluded to this. I want to point out a very obvious thing that's happening. Tomorrow, the Nobel Peace Prize is announced. In under any other circumstances, it would be a no-brainer. The word out of the reporting was that they made their final decision on Monday before this happened. Okay. So there's obviously, I mean, I guess, I don't know. I don't sit on the Nobel Peace Prize committee, unfortunately. But there's obviously a way that they could amend something. Who knows? I don't know the particulars of this, but it looks like I would say the odds are not stacked in President Trump's favor in terms of the timing. These people don't like him. And I think now they'd have to give it to him. But I want to go around the horn. I mean, I actually do worry about the reaction because most people aren't going to get the process and be like, oh, well, it was decided a week ago. And he really, even though he only solved 7 wars prior to that, so do you think, one, that there's any chance he still gets it? And two, what will be the reaction when he don't? Because most people are going to go, I don't get it. How did this not happen and not realize the timeline? Rob?
Well, Sean, you're absolutely right. The global elites despise Donald Trump, and I think that I would be shocked if they gave him the Nobel Prize, even if the deadline had been another day and this news had come out earlier. Yeah. I still think it would have been a stretch. Now he deserves it. Let me say that. I mean, I think that Claudia Tenney and others who have advocated here in Washington for Donald Trump to receive this are right in their justification for why even before this historic deal. As for the reaction among those who are the biggest fans of Donald Trump, I suspect there will be great disappointment and a lot of gnashing of teeth over the next 24 hours if this does not happen as they would expect. But they have been accustomed to seeing how the establishment and elites have treated him over the last decade. And so I don't necessarily know it'll come as a huge shock to them either.
Arynne?
I don't think anyone's going to be surprised if he doesn't get it. Same points, right? We saw them award Barack Obama the Nobel Prize for just not being George Bush, right? So that's really when all credibility went out the window. I haven't taken a look recently at what they've awarded in the sciences, and I don't pay attention to exactly what's going on over there. But I would imagine that we've gone from awarding people who, came up with the polio vaccine to just probably awarding people who hired DEI folks for their research labs. So I imagine overall this award means a lot less, but it would certainly be something if they did award this to Trump. And we all agree, he did so many things before this. I thought he should get the Nobel Prize long before this deal. And we're also still in the middle of it. So who knows at this point? Listen, Coca-Cola came out and did a Coke for Trump. Like we've seen McDonald's came out saying we're happy President Trump was here. I think certain things in the culture have shifted that it is still possible they could have chosen President Trump for this. I'm actually a little optimistic, which is not my flavor usually.
I think that people need to temper their expectations for tomorrow. But I also would give hope to this in some ways. I have so many thoughts around this. The applications were actually due back in January, I think January 31st or something. So I think it's probably unlikely he'll get it unless, to your point, Sean, they do an amendment. He no doubt deserves it, full stop. And not only for this, for so many other things, and not just in this term. You go back to the Abraham Accords, which were historic. I mean, you look at Jimmy Carter, who got it for Camp David Accords. And so you should have had that in kind, essentially. And then even some people said the COVID vaccine, which you look at the red tape that he cut for that to happen in his first term. No one gives him enough credit for that, I don't think. And so no doubt he deserves it. If he doesn't get it tomorrow, definitely he should get it in 2026 because so many people have nominated him at this point, even Netanyahu, other leaders, Azerbaijan, you have Congo president who said he would elect him, and so many other people who would come out now, I think. So if he doesn't get it this year, he should get it next year. But I actually also think that it helps him if he doesn't get it in many ways. Kind of goes to the chip on his shoulder that he doesn't fall in line with what everybody else does. And so I think it helps him in many ways. But to Arynne's point, you have seen a 180 with how the elites have treated Trump in Trump 1 versus Trump 2.0. I even am reminded of, you had all of those tech CEOs who were like at this round table all praising him. You would have never just a few months ago.
No, they quit. In the first term, they literally quit a panel.
You would have never seen that ever, literally. So the amount of people praising him now and giving him credit, I think when people can see, you can love him or hate him, but even this morning I was watching a lot of media, and there were so many people praising him, people that do not like him. And I think you will continue to see that, because when you have something this historic, you actually look like an idiot if you don't come out and give praise where praise is due.
Exactly. By the way, to your point, Barack Obama in 2009 got it because of like the potential of future doing something. Like he hadn't actually done it. They said the promise of potentially doing something. Yeah. I mean, that's literally getting an A because they look in. They go, you know what? You look like a smart guy. We're going to give you the A right now, and then
and Sean, back to this point. If nominations are due January 31st, it literally means that somebody would have done essentially nothing since he got it in his first year.
Right.
So it's that really was
That's
so
Oh,
a good point. I didn't think. I mean, with Trump, he'd already done stuff in January and October.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.